Ghost.
I love that they have no context for those two phrases at all, and we're just going to leave them hanging. Yes, welcome back, chat.
I always asking people to be quiet. Do you think I want to hear people talking? No. Yet here I am. Not a choice.
Yes, but I say in an event where people have to talk excessively.
Happy Lucky Session 13, everyone.
Hey.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Most tantalizing.
Yeah, that's not a significant number to have in a domain of dread.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh. But yeah. Also, like I mentioned in the server earlier, but I'm still dealing with like getting notifications on. I was not prepared to have my most viral tweet ever just be me agreeing with Joe Cat on something. All I said was, "This man is right." He made it. He had an argument that he just had to make in simple GIF form. I was like, "Yep, nope, that's right." And then everyone was just like, "Yeah, we're gonna like this guy," and I'm like, "I do nothing with this man. I just want him to live in peace."
I won't say Joker is mostly right. I just want to say the internet is mostly wrong.
Wait, was this
Citric?
the...
That was incredibly wise and perfectly accurate.
Thank you, I try.
You were saying, Saris?
Oh, I was just gonna ask if it was the shipping post.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. No, you're both correct, though. You're correct. Like, objective fact, we're not... Listen, I understand art is subjective. That is not subjective. That is objective. That is a fact.
Oh. Well, we definitely have already gone. I also love that we provide chat with zero context for anything we've talked about since starting.
The Addams Family.
They know.
They have to know at this point. Like 13 episodes in? Come on. What are you doing?
Alright, do we want to start going around the horn?
No.
Alright, you spent too much time with me.
Alright, well, it's a great stream, everybody. I guess we're closing out. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't you dare. I had to prepare. That mother. I literally had to go through hell putting this computer back together. We're streaming. None of that.
Committing to the bit.
Yeah, I did not like steal every file off my old computer in 80 degrees in my own home just so that way we could not play. For that, Citric, you must go first. Shill.
Fine. Hi there, I'm Cedric. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Cedric King. Everywhere being places like Blue Sky, Twitter, Tumblr, etc., etc. Things have been slow, as I keep saying, but should be going back to normal, as I've been saying. Anyway, but other than that, you can find me here next Tuesday for our final episode of Pack Tactics, where we are finally wrapping up the story with the fish people. So, yes. Considering that's like once a year thing, I really hope everyone shows up for the finale. That would be really cool. Other than that, yeah, that is pretty much me. So, for the man craving for Cerveza Cristal, San?
Oh, that's me. I don't know if I'm craving it, but I do think about it longingly as I fondle moonbeams staring outside the midnight window. Hi, I'm Zan, or Xanalyst Grim. You can find me over at my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/XanalystGrim, tomorrow at 7 p.m. PST for some D&D. As I keep saying, similar to Citric, we are going to be back tomorrow. So if you like some more D&D content, you're not all roleplayed out, that'll be there for you. Some friends of the channel are also in that. So yeah, look forward to that. Tuesday, we are taking a break from Halo Lasso because we finished 5 and we just want like a 2-month break. But we're going to be playing something else. Not quite certain what that is, whether we're doing a all-day Space Marine, Helldivers, fucking Dark Tide, something else, we don't know. But yeah, if you want to see that, that'll be there over on my channel. And then, let's see, what else is there? All right. Thursday, I am going to be continuing on over at twitch.tv/Montyclue at 7 p.m. PST, where we are playing Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We are pretty deep into the module itself, and we are fighting a metric fuck ton of squids and squid adjacent creatures. So if you like seeing mind flayers get their comeuppance, that's there for you. And aside from that, I am going to pass it to our lovely DM, Saris.
I would just like to point out that as far as Mad Mage is concerned, choices and decisions were made, and
Indeed.
consequences are being had.
Yep.
But hello, you can find me all over the internet at TixDixel, where I am shit posting on main. Congratulations. That is what we have come to. I will be returning on the upcoming Saturday not this Saturday, I think. You have to remind me, Vaughn, when we're doing it,
this
but
Saturday
I will.
Say by Spell.
Right. Sorry.
You're fine.
But for No Love War Extra, we're we're I don't think I'm at liberty to say what we're doing next, but I'm going to be back and it's going to be fun, and that much I can tell you, and you should absolutely be there to figure out what exactly Vaughn has up his sleeve. Other than that, you can find me here every second and fourth Sunday DMing this campaign. And I believe at this point, the only other thing that I have to say is, unfortunately, Sheila will not be joining us tonight, although I do have some very secret special things from her that you all will get to witness tonight because she cannot be here. And with that, on, take us away.
All right, hey, you've already found me here at twitch.tv/BurnoutVaughn. You find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Blue Sky at BurnoutVaughn, and over on Patreon at Burnout's Bar, where a lot more things are going to be happening here soon, hopefully, because I now have a functional computer, I have enough monitors for properly streaming, and I now finally have OBS up and running. It's all good. I'm so happy. I feel like a god with these 3 screens. But yes, besides that, let's see here. Tuesday, yes, we have Pack Tactics, where, yeah, I am looking forward to another finale. When you find a ton of, like, fisherman corpses buried under a, like, cul-de-sac, you know you're about to have a good boss fight. But aside from that, Saturday is Saved by Spell, which got postponed because apparently J-Frost has put together so much stuff that he had to have an extra week and a friend locally help him put together everything, so that'll be fun. And then then the following Saturday, that'll be No Love War Extra, where I can say what we're going to be doing, because it's been a minute since we, stepped our feet into the waters of something like AI Somnium Files. I thought we should get back into this, like, something at least law adjacent. So we're going to be playing a game that's free on Steam right now. At least the demo is for this episode 0, which we will be playing, of the Devil. Highly recommend it. Put it on your wish list. They are a very nice team that I follow on Twitter, and I highly recommend it. And wishlisting helps them get the game in front of more eyes. But with that said, it's now time for me to play our lovely theme song. So give me 1 second.
have you been doing?
How do you keep breaking into my house?
Dude, you keep leaving the front door unlocked.
And I return.
Welcome back!
Here in the underworld.
We definitely were
waiting
not
for you.
misbehaving.
This group.
Satan says hi.
Alright, give me a second here. I forget, is this one of the games where we have to do the intros?
It is going to be one of the games where I'm going to ask one of the three of you to recap what happened a month ago.
A while ago, yes.
Well, I think I can remember enough of it, strangely enough. So, okay. We reached the town of Melancholy, which is less of a town and more of like a trading post that has a vibrant art scene. But when I say vibrant, I mean depressing. So we wandered around. The day prior, we spent most of our day at the tavern and then just got rooms and went to bed. Then had night terrors. Then when we woke up and went downstairs, we found Onyx sleeping on a table. Confused at how they got there, and confusing us as well. But we got some food. Learned that if we wanted to learn anything, we'd have to either talk to... gonna need to get the names right here and hope somebody wrote them down in notes. No one did. Okay. I was gonna say...
I'm giving you the floor. I will pick you up if you fuck up. But I have to give you the chance.
Yeah, I will say Lychee. Lychee, who is a merchant, who is someone who regularly travels between Melancholy and Scald, which seems like one the only major settlements in all of Kartakass. And I can't remember the other one. The head of the Nature's Guild there.
Shallow Mim.
Shallow Mim, thank you. I knew it was Mim something.
Shallow.
So we
Wizard
decided...
Bunny Mim.
But we decided that it'd be best to try Lychee first, if only because of the fact that Branson speaks Caravan, and this guy's about to run a caravan all the way to Scald. And he immediately has shown us that he is probably very sketchy, but also very amiable and willing to just take us to Scald, and also help us with some, what would be illegal things, like getting weapons that can kill were-creatures. It's gonna be so fun getting to know this man on an intimate level, but then we're like, okay, we should probably just get ready to leave, but he's not leaving for the next day. Alright, let's go talk to the Shallow Mim character. And after nearly breaking into the, guild, we were let in, only to find out that they had heard about us, were very interested in everything we were doing, and, the small, very significant item that was just sitting in Branson's pocket that he really did not want to show anyone, but now he at least knows it's very useful to him. And yeah, so with that bit of information, we now know that we'll probably be seeing Shallow Mim in the future, because I think they also move between guilds. But that was
they are part of.
Oh,
they are part of the Keepers of the Feather, which is kind of a hush-hush organization, and they ask us to, take care of the amulet and make sure that we can restore it.
Fair. Thank you. That's everything I can remember from the last session.
That about covers it, actually.
Sweet.
I mean, that, and we had a fine time drinking at the wasn't the Long Claw Inn, it was the Pony's Brewery.
Yeah.
Pre-afternoon drinking, as you do.
Yeah. Because Zan had to go check out the message boards, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Where he's now
He had to go find...
Gonna be engaging,
Sorry?
traveling slam poetry.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than Reddit. Anyway.
That's a low bar. Careful not to trip.
We're doing limbo again.
Vaughn, if you do not already have it, please take some inspiration.
I already have it, but I just figured, for some reason I remembered a lot of last session, so I was like, I'll just fall on this grenade.
Okay. Well, for this session, then, since you already have a die of inspiration, pick one skill and give yourself proficiency for the duration of the session.
Ooh.
Okay, let me see.
Nice.
I will figure that out in a second, but yeah, if you want to start taking things on.
Reddit can't be that good. There's not a subreddit for Severus Crystal, so. So there is.
Wait,
Reddit, your
there
own knows.
isn't?
There isn't. I just checked.
Speaking of low bars.
Welcome to Those Who Wander, everybody. So, you all left the Nature's Guild. And at this point, I'm going to sort of take the rate a little bit here and ask you all to roll me an active perception check.
Do.
I'm glad I didn't just put that, like, random, point into that. 22, I'll take it.
19.
19.
Immaculate, amazing. You all would notice then, there's someone missing. You literally were in there for how many minutes? Probably close to 30 minutes, right? Probably even longer. And yet somehow, as the three of you emerge out of the Nature's Guild, something's missing.
We need to get the bell
Humphrey
for her.
looks around. Did Mrs. Onyx disappear again?
Yes.
I am starting to worry.
She was able to find us, despite how far we traveled, even within the mists. If she wants to find us, I would imagine it would not be too difficult for her.
I guess just kinda hard to get used to it.
And yet, as you say that, Razvan, in your sort of shrugging off of the circumstances, your hand drifts almost unconsciously, like you're gonna put your hands in your pockets to your pockets, and you notice something in there that wasn't there before. You certainly didn't put something in there.
Razvan will take out said thing in pocket.
And if Roll20 would cooperate.
Oh.
Now, before you opt to read it out loud, I instead have a gift for all of you.
Oh.
Dear friends, unfortunately, the time has come for me to bid you farewell. I will miss you and will cherish the time we've spent together, and I hope that our paths will cross again. Branson, I will miss how safe I felt in your presence. Razvan, I will miss your lyrical speech. Humphrey, I have so many fond memories of you. I will carry them everywhere. Thank you. All of you. I would not have survived our perilous adventures without your aid.
And
so she used...
huh?
I was gonna say, like, because I was also reading along with it. So she was using me as a shield. I thought so.
Can still hear her voice.
Well, she might still find us one of these days, but at least now, all we really need to do is tomorrow explain to Lychee why he has one less guard.
Sad to see, but does not change our immediate circumstances.
I suppose not. It... Another thing to process, I guess. I only hope
If
they are
nothing
okay.
else, I'll be ready to have everything we need for the journey.
It might be a good idea. By the way, since we have a moment to stop, if only to occupy our minds in something more tangible, Mr. Rothman, a while ago, when we found the grave, I found 2 scrolls. Things have been a blur. I have not had a chance to hand it to either you or Mr. Branson, who are better acquainted with magics than I am. If you wouldn't mind checking them if they are of any use going forward, I hope. And Humphrey hands a scroll to each one of you.
All right. Do we have to roll anything to figure out what they are?
I'm sorry. Figure out what exactly?
Back when we were we found the old leather diary, Hector, I blanking on the name, the grave. There were 2 scrolls. I did not hand them to anyone, but I've been carrying them.
Mm-hmm. You did, yeah. I don't believe you ever identified them. No.
No, I never did. So that's why I'm handing them to them. It's just like I've been carrying them and doing nothing with them.
Yeah.
I think I know what one of them is because I think you actually passed one off because I have a very particular scroll that I do not remember where we got it from. Because I have a random scroll of commune with nature.
I believe so, yes. Yes, correct? Correct.
Right, so then the other one, I don't know.
Correct.
We wouldn't happen to have 100 GP sized pearl and an owl feather per chance.
I think our total party phones are below that.
Although I will say, in terms
Then
of
I
an
cannot
owl,
cast
you have
Identify.
seen an owl.
Love it. What kind of owl?
I gotta double check my notes actually. But you have in fact seen an owl.
Roll on the table of owls.
Yeah.
Also, for all the people who are gonna be like, aren't you forgetting something, guys? No, Branson's totally been carrying that orb over his shoulder the entire time we've been doing everything in this town.
Yes, correct. Correct.
It's his safety orb.
Or am I holding it to keep everyone else safe?
That's a great question.
One day, we'll be able to have Zan tell us what all of the magic shit that we are carrying that we have no idea what it does.
Just give me a pearl worth 100 GP. Owl feather.
That falls from the sky.
The moment I get that, I'll fucking identify anything you want.
And I found it. It is you have noticed a great horned owl, a big round fella.
One of my favorites.
Hanging out in the tree.
You said you need an owl feather?
Yes, to cast the spell that would allow me to identify something magical, I will need a pearl of great worth and a single owl feather.
Well, as far as the pearl, sadly, we are not that well in funds. At least it's good to know there are towns we can interact with. So money does have some worth, some value, but
finding such a pearl this far away from any sort of ocean might prove difficult, though.
True. It would make it, if anything, more expensive.
Indeed.
Also, Sarah, how far would you say that owl is away?
Why are you asking?
Commune with nature. Give me feathers. and Pearl worth 100 GP.
You know, I did actually think about that, but I think you know exactly the reason why if you know how Branson solves problems.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's about 40 feet away.
Branson takes a few steps. Does a 17 hit the branch it's on?
The branch, yes.
Okay. And does 6 damage make the branch fall?
No, but you do manage to shake the branch, and the owl begins to flap its big feathered wings, and with an agitated hoot, begins to take flight.
Does it lose any feathers when that happens?
You know what? Let's make this interesting. I'm gonna roll something really quick.
Also, it wouldn't be a channel here if I didn't attack an owl in a D&D game.
I mean, I'm here every week, so or every other week.
You're the one that gets the pass.
The owl pass.
You say that, but back when you could have He Who Funny Times with my wizard, his whole thing was he had a conspiracy that the owls around campus were behind all of the evil.
You
So-
managed. I'm so sorry. Don't mean to interrupt.
No,
You
please do.
You do manage a total of 3 feathers fall.
Branson walks over, grabs the feathers. Then he'll be like, walk back over to Razvan. Here, take your pick. Now I have to go climb a tree. As Branson walks back over, sets down the orb, and starts climbing the tree to get his axe back.
Yeah, you're able to do so with ease.
Awesome.
Thank you. You're going to try and find 3 to try and get the pearl. Oh, your axe. That makes more sense.
Mr. Rosman, please tell me none of your spells ask for teeth.
I do not believe so.
Good. If they do, never tell Mr. Branson.
I see. That does make sense. No, fortunately, most of my spells do not require anything physical. Some do, but usually they're quite simple.
Yeah, I'll say Branson didn't hear any of that and it's just now rejoined the group. Alright, we should be heading back as he hefts the 40-pound orb back over his shoulder.
Good.
I had to find something to do with that orb.
I mean, right now, if worse comes to worse, I can use it as a flail.
Isn't it a magical thing?
Yes.
Are you not worried about any consequences of breaking it?
I tried to break it with another magical thing, so unless something is a stronger magical thing, I don't think it's going to break.
Trust your judgment.
Listen, a random disembodied voice gave me magic and an axe. I don't know much about it. I just know what I can do.
I said I trusted your judgment. You don't have to make me doubt you now. Interesting day already.
Do we need anything else for our journey?
Nothing that I don't think Lychee would not provide us. Typically, you want to...
Did they say anything about the rations, though? We have to consider we will be on the road.
Well, we still have 3 days worth because we did not have to waste any on getting here thanks to Barhu.
And our journey is going to be how many?
He did not specify. Though I would imagine if he's planning any kind of caravan work, he's going to bring enough food to feed the people he's paying to protect him.
I'll follow your instinct in that case. You are more experienced traveling than I am.
Yes, typically if you don't feed the people driving your caravan or protecting it, you don't have a caravan anymore.
Fair enough.
Are you walking and talking as this is happening?
I would assume.
Yeah.
Now we're dancing and talking.
Well,
We're
I guess I'm gonna
blogging.
have you guys roll performance checks then. Gosh darn it.
Don't you put that evil on me.
Where did it go? There it is. So, the reason I asked, the two of them are talking. Razvan, you notice that as the three of you are walking together, that someone has been tailing you.
It appears we've gathered some attention, probably from throwing axes into trees.
Humphrey tries to look around without, like, making it apparent.
And Razvan just looks behind him.
Just 180 your head as a blob.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, how can you make it, like, how does the, I feel like it's easier for Humphrey to make it look inconspicuous than it does look actually conspicuous.
Meanwhile, the axe-throwing lunatic just turns around and looks at whoever's dumb enough to follow the axe-wielding lunatic.
Humphrey still throws it back a little bit when he turns his head.
So, do I notice who is tailing us?
Oh, they wave at you. The individual in question is actually more than one. Now that you are looking at them directly, you notice three. And if you remember, these individuals you actually saw at the bar the other night. One with a blue, very fanciful, almost like it almost has this. I think it described it as being like super fancy, almost like militant, but like the one wearing blue has it almost has like that sort of French noble Renaissance look to it, where it's got the long tails and it's got all of the buttons along the front and the frills, and it just looks very fanciful. And at their side, they're holding a lyre. One of the other ones, as I mentioned, is wearing a red coat, similar but different in nature. And you immediately notice that they, on their person, are holding a flute. And the third one with like a darker, like a almost like foresty green, is following alongside. And at their side, you'd expect an instrument, but instead you see a rapier, drawn. But the one at the front, the one in blue, as you turn around to face the trio, waves with a smile. Hello, hi.
Are we in some form of danger?
What do you mean by that?
Kind of looks towards the weapons.
Let's not be hasty. They might be traveling musicians, right?
How do you play a sword?
Mr. Branston, not now.
I mean, it is quite simple actually, and they hold it up and they like take the tip of their rapier and they kind of flick it so it makes a wobbly, like that very wobbly metallic sound.
Ah, the poor man's theremin. I gotcha.
Yep.
Well, Branch just turns back to Humphrey and Razvan just because, like, you guys are the talkers. I am the muscle.
Well, how can we be of assistance to you?
We're just a little curious about the three, originally four, I thought. I thought I saw you. Maybe it was a figment of my imagination, but the three of you, nameless nobodies walking around town, not even bothering to say hello, just going from place to place to place. Forgive me. A stringer of stories myself. But I'm always interested to hear what people are doing, where they're going, what they're seeing.
I think I understand. My name is Razvan Fleur. I will allow my companions to introduce themselves as they wish, but we are new to Kartakass and are a bit in wanderlust trying to figure out where everything is. So I apologize if we gave you and your companions a miss. We are simply curious about the surroundings.
Roll me a persuasion check.
All right, roll 20. We've been through a lot this week. But if you could just get me through one more session, that's all I ask. Fuck. You know what? We're going to spend inspiration.
Okay.
25.
A lot better.
Wanderlust, you say? It's not many people that would be. That's really fascinating, actually. Don't you think? She kind of looks to the two other people with her. It's really interesting that someone would just stumble upon a place, show up, and then immediately want to leave. The Wanderlust. What is that like?
Is that the question you wish to have answered or rhetorical?
Yeah, actually. I mean, if that is genuinely like your drive for coming and going, then yeah, I'd love to hear more about it.
Trying to understand more of our surroundings, we realized that it might be best for us to eventually scold. So, upon our investigations of our surroundings, we found out that there was a caravan that was leading towards Skald. So, we offered our services to assist. Quite simple, really.
What kind of services?
Protection and entertainment if necessary.
Oh, entertainment. Do you play?
Not very well. But we can enjoy a story or two.
Story. Well, that's a shame. You're leaving so soon when you could be sharing your stories.
I suppose. Are you locals to this place?
Oh, we are, yeah. Actually, what she's not telling you, speaks of the one in red, is that she is on the road to trying to become the Meister singer. Actually, shut up! You're not supposed to publicize that.
Oh, I see.
That's how shit starts. You don't. We've been over this. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I do not have any interest in competing for that spot. We are just trying to survive our way in the lands of Kartakass. However, if you enjoy poetry and small musings at the bar nearby, there might be another note or two left behind.
They're like side eyeing you, like interested, intrigued.
Also,
Are you
Zan
planning on
low-key
playing? Hmm?
just gonna say, Zan low-key said, hey, go to the bar, you can find my mixtape.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'll be sure to check it out. And if you do make another stop to the tavern and we have to be there, please don't be a stranger. We'd love to hear more from you.
Very well. But
That
I do
being
not
said,
believe I got all of your names.
precisely. We have not had the chance to have yourself introduce yourselves.
That's incredibly frustrating, actually. I would think that. Well, I guess there is truth that in a smaller town like this, it's harder to build renown. Blah 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 blah. The three of us, as a group, we like to refer to ourselves as I have to go back through my notes. Give me a second. I'm on the wrong page. I'm so sorry.
The only insert name here.
Yeah, basically. But I
Cerveza
actually
crystals.
planned it. No. I actually planned it out though. I just am on the wrong page. Because I had to look up the owl information.
That's one. I gotta get 2 more.
It's not Beetlejuice.
Our sponsorship requires it.
We refer to ourselves as the Fair Winds.
Oh.
A lovely name.
We travel, and everywhere we go, people are graced with our presences.
I see.
But if you are looking for me specifically, just the name is Rita. Just Rita is fine.
Well, it is
I assume
certainly
that's
a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
It's a pleasure to make yours. Although, your friend, did you introduce them? I don't believe you did. I thought you only just gave your name, so I think it's only fair trade that I only give mine.
As I said, I will let them introduce themselves if they wish.
Right.
I do
Kind
not
of
speak
side
for
eyes.
I do
Sorry?
not speak for other people.
Kind of side eyes the other two of you.
Humphrey takes a step forward and takes off his hat. My name is Humphrey. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And then Branson just like Bronson does not change his like basically just like head empty posture.
Pleasure is all ours then. Again, we'll see you around. We'll leave you be, but don't be a stranger if you decide to stop back in. Oh, and if you decide to stay longer, there is a Battle of the Bards happening. It's been going on for a couple days now. We're in the final rounds over at the concert hall.
Oh, I see. Well, that is good to know. This is always a pleasure to see such vibrant talents attempting to hone their craft.
You're gonna insight not you, Zan, or sorry, Razvan, but Humphrey and Branson.
I was like, me above game? How do you do
Yeah,
that?
you above game. We're gonna insight you above game. Ready?
If I may reply with the same though, because
Sure.
Humphrey wants like figure out if the awkward conversation is intended to be threatening.
Roll an insight.
That's a 13.
Admittedly, it's not easy to tell. You don't know if she's just catty or if it's an actual threat. Could be either.
These
You know,
damn
some people are just catty, and some people are actually trying to threaten you.
This damn group of bards are moving in on our bard territory. Quick, a song shall recover this.
And on her end, that was an 18 on insight. On both Humphrey and Branson. Inciting your silence. Inciting your lack of response, potentially if it's lack of interest, if it's simply, you're thinking about other things.
As far as Humphrey, he's letting Razvan take the reins while he's examining the group. He is listening, he is paying attention, but he's trying to figure out why this interaction.
Branson's much easier to read. he has a very bored look on his face, but you can tell from his eyes that he's taking in everything from them, as if he is sizing up which one he will like go after if this gets violent. And it's definitely looking at sword person.
Gotcha.
No hostility, just kind of face blank, just doing the math.
Sure. To make things a little interesting, Branson, since you're keeping an eye out, why don't you roll me both an insight check and also I'm gonna have you roll an intelligence check.
Oh boy, I'm great at both of those. Actually, no, I am good at both. I forgot Insight's Whiz. Yeah, I'm good at it's that one. 17.
Oh man, I suck. Oh wait, I'm the best.
Around! Okay, and intelligence.
Oh, this is shit. No, wait, I'm the shit.
Yeah, that tracks.
I do notice that. I have no idea what the fuck it is, but I do notice it.
They don't seem to be taking an offensive stance. They have it out, they have it ready, but at current juncture, at least as far as you all are concerned, they're not aiming it at you necessarily.
Yeah, considering Branson's whole thing is being quick on the draw of his weapons, he recognizes the type.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fair winds. I would wish you luck in your upcoming performance, but I know that does not bode well, so I will request that you break both of your legs and that your vocal cords strip before the performance. As Razvan knows the customs not to wish someone good luck before a performance.
I find it very hilarious as an aside that is considered like a good thing, when in any other context that would have sufficed probably some type of like aggressive encounter.
Fall in
But
the ditch and
never-
die.
Just theater kid
Yep.
things.
You went to the exact same place I did. Fucking gyro.
But yep, nope. They collectively all kind of beam, smiling, grinning, and all give you their thanks as they continue off past you down the road, now leaving you, shall we say, in their tailcoats.
Yeah, if you did not know, that is where the term break a leg comes from.
Humphrey looks at Brasvan. Any explanation as to what was that?
Yeah. From what we understand in this place of Kartakass, it would seem that it is rather competitive to be an entertainer, specifically, it would seem, around music. I believe they might have been worried with the upcoming competition that we might be competitors for them. Those who seem to be victorious in these endeavors might find some measure of power in Kartakass, I suspect. And considering I am a traveling bard myself, it would be prudent for them to size us up in case we are competition for that power. Fortunately, I believe we dissuaded their fears that we are here to challenge them. We're not going to be here very long anyways.
See, what strikes me as odd is that it's not the first time we meet them. Our first night here, when we went to Pony's Brewery, they were drinking at that place, at least two of them. And there were no attempts to interact with us, so why now?
It is the eve of competition. If we were to be competitors against them, it would be far more off guard or off-putting for us to be introduced right before the performance. But fortunately for them and for us, neither party has to worry about any of that.
Also, I am told I'm the type of person you don't approach at a bar.
I do not believe you are the kind of person to approach without open invitation in general, Bronson.
He just shrugs.
I will I will take both of your words on these matters. Um, that being said, I believe our caravan doesn't depart until tomorrow. If we have nothing else to do, at the very least, to get like a better feeling of how people around here interact with just music and spectacle, which again seems to be a massive part of this culture, we may benefit actually to drop by this Battle of the Bards, even if we have no intention of competing there.
Humphrey.
Yes?
I must ask for your forgiveness. I did not realize you are a person of the arts.
I try to understand as much as I can. Can't say all that verse in the fine arts, but I try to learn. At least the home I've served to, the madam has certainly an eye for what it is fine painting and fine music, as well as fine writing. I found a better bearing on that last end, but it is kind of beside the point. My curiosity is here because I'm trying to understand this place. The better we know how this land works, the better the better chance we have at succeeding at whatever it is we're meant to do here. That is at least the way I see it.
Well, I can offer you this to maybe assist you. And Razvan will hand Humphrey the only musical instrument he has on him, which is a pair of castanets.
Oh. Who will hold them? Huh. What is this? It looks like a clam.
It's sort of percussive instrument. You hold it in either hand and you clasp them together. It makes a rhythmic sort of noise. It is nice. I typically use it to accent some form of poetry or saga, but it can be used musically quite well indeed.
You see how Humphrey puts the castanets in between both of his like mitten hands, and it's like and presses it to clap it. Like it's basically clapping with it in between. Huh. I haven't seen something like this before.
Please, yours to use as you wish.
I will do my best to get a handle of this. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But if there is nothing else for us to do for the day, I suppose we could drink away our sorrows of losing our dear companion Onyx, or we can try to distract ourselves at the duel of the the Battle of the Bards. That was it, right?
Well, considering I don't want to run into those people again, I guess we're going to the Battle of the Bards, because they said they're going to be in the pub.
Ah, very well. Then let us go to the arena of music.
Very
As
well
the
then.
three of... Sorry?
No, just that.
As the three of you continue walking, once again, you start to notice as you're traversing down the road, you pass, familiar shops, that one fancy, obscurely different building that you don't really know how to place, as well as, other shops, other houses. You start to notice something. As you start heading towards an opening, if you will, the road sort of reaches like I said, it's kind of it's not really quite an opening. It's like a four-way stop, but if the stop at that point in between was much larger, as you notice, yeah, you come across a what appears to be a fountain made of stone. but it seems to be cracked down the center. And the sort of stone wall that makes the outside of the fountain has some areas that have just crumbled. Looks like it hasn't been functional in a while. And as you start to approach this open, wider space, once again, the three of you, on your passive perceptions, notice that you are being followed once again. But this time by one person. You also note that there are a couple other people standing about the buildings, kind of minding their own business. But as you approach, they all kind of have their eye on you. Watching what you're doing.
Humphrey will mention, like, kind of in a lower voice. I mean, in a low tone. Mr. Rasman, Mr. Branson, I think we are getting a lot of attention here.
It is difficult to say what reason why, as much as that makes me nervous of prying eyes that I did not invite. I suppose it is understandable considering we are still new to this place.
I'm used to turning heads. I'm a heavily armored Yuan-Ti. But being followed is new.
I thought you were going to say you were used to twisting them with their hand. Never mind.
I don't typically have to harm anything that's living.
Well, that's good news, ain't it?
Turn around to whoever's addressing us.
Remember the guy that you saw in the tavern? Not once, but twice. The one that posted the notice?
The larger man?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
He's standing there. He's got... Hold on a second. Sorry. He's got... differently this time in his hand. He has what appears to be some sort of... Well... That sure is...
Krista.
No! It's like a walking stick, but the top of it has been sharpened into like a stake or like a spear.
Afternoon. He said. Humphrey says, like, tipping his hat.
Certainly is.
Is anything the matter?
Well, it seems to me that a couple of guys in black cloaks wandering around our little town, never been seen before. No one knows their name, won't even bother to say hi. Doesn't even stop in to shop. Stays the night and then vanishes from place to place to place. I don't know. Seems a little suspicious to me.
If we have offended you in any way, we are sincerely sorry. Is making introductions here like something important? It's the second time that not saying hello has been brought up. We are outsiders, sadly, and we wouldn't want to disrespect your customs.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Will do. Five.
It's the thing about it, right? In order for an outsider like yourself to be able to get to know the customs, they have to want to know the customs. But you didn't stop to talk to anybody. You didn't bother to ask. Just going from place to place to place. Keeping your head low. So much so that your little cat fella friend. Where are they? Nowhere to be found. Seems to me you guys are up to no good, and I figured I do everybody a favor and either put a stop to it myself or figure out what the truth is.
Please, we are open book to read. If there is anything we can dissuade your suspicions or cautions, we gladly do so to help.
Why are you here?
In this particular location or this town?
However you want to interpret that question. Branson.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that there are 2 more people walking towards the fountain from behind you both, from where you're standing, approaching.
Well, in truth, we are wandering adventurers, but we did not intend to find ourselves in Kartakass. We were within a circus of sorts and wandered into a mist and wound up here. This is the first town we have seen that has not been plagued by some sort of fighting. So we've tried to make ourselves known and present to at least the immediate locals that we found. Would not mean any harm. In fact, we plan to leave tomorrow.
To go where?
I believe the caravan is headed towards Skald.
Caravan, you say?
Hey.
This point, Branson,
Mm-hmm.
another 3 more people have started to draw in closer from behind.
Branson, at this point, turn his head to acknowledge that he knows that they're there, and he's going to very slightly, but not hostilely, just kind of take his axe off of its L hooks, but keep it low. Like it's right next to there. It's not like holding in any kind of like usable fashion, other than it is off of his belt and in his hand.
There have been a lot of suspicious caravans moving around these parts.
Oh?
Don't act so surprised.
Yeah, but I am quite surprised. We have not seen any upon our travels quite yet.
Roll a deception check.
There's no deception. We haven't seen any.
No, we saw one, the red one, with the hand.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Absolutely, I totally spaced about that above game.
You're good. Roll me a deception check.
No, redact that. It's like, oh wait, no, we have seen one. There was strange people chanting. Yes, I think I remember that now.
Strange people chanting.
Hey.
We've heard about your weird cult. The one with no name. We've encountered them a few times.
A few times? As you say that, you notice his stance widen just a little bit and lower a little bit more to the ground.
The Slav squatting at us?
Nope.
No, he's getting ready for a fight. Yes, they tried to kill us on 2 different occasions. They failed.
Roll me a persuasion check. What were you gonna say, Humphrey? What were you gonna say, Humphrey?
Yeah, like while this is happening, to be fair, we fought him once. The other time we found the circle.
They were too intimidated by my friend's large muscles and axe. Bardic inspiration. Bardic inspiration.
Okay, I'll take it. That's a D6, right?
Yes.
Okay, 17.
At this point, more people have started to gather. Some people have even started, like, stepping out of their homes to watch what's going on. Starting to draw a crowd.
Oh boy.
I think that's a really, really interesting story about a cult who doesn't want to be seen, and yet you've seen them a couple times and you claim to survive from them. Who's to say that you aren't part of them?
The fact I hunt undead would be why I find a cult that deals in them.
The reason why we are not with them is because you could see us. And we've given names.
it would be sincerely counterintuitive for any of us to say it out loud if we were part of said cult. If anything, the only reason we're bringing it up is because, well, we have no reason to not do it.
Look at this specimen, this creature, this absolutely stunning scholar and gentleman. He's kind of points towards Humphrey. Why would this person join a cult?
Humphrey looks at you like, what?
As a single cheek glistens. I'll let you decide which cheek.
The left one, of course.
And if you
See,
want
the thing about it is, you say that you've given your names, but to who? As far as I'm concerned, I don't know your names. As far as I'm concerned, most of the people here don't know your names. Again, you've never even bothered to say hello, introduce yourself, make yourself known, share a few stories. You've done none of that. Yet you've got a bard with you. And, if I overheard you correctly, you plan on leaving. That's suspicious.
And we did not know exactly where to find to make ourselves, to introduce ourselves informal. It wasn't exactly an immediate person to greet us, so we tried to keep a relatively low profile, as we understand that this place is not getting many travelers. But I apologize. We are not from here. We did not realize the social contract we were breaking. My name is Razvan Fleur. The lovely gentleman here is Humphrey, and this is Brunson. We mean you no harm, but if I must warn you, you wish to test us in some measure of might, we are quite capable. It is not our intention here, of course, but we are no slouches.
Of course, because of people like you always have tricks up your sleeves.
No tricks, just strength.
At which point, Branson will, to emphasize that, drop the 40-pound orb he's just been shouldering this entire time and, like, right next to the very stone fountain.
I understand we are being perceived as interlopers. Trust us, it was never our intention to offend anyone in the town of Melancholy at all. Our intention was not to disturb the peace, and apparently that was an error on our part. We did not know people here want to be approached, want to be introduced to. So we are sincerely sorry. We did not want to cause any commotion, any conflict.
But that's the thing. By not... What do you not understand? What do you not understand about everything that you just said that's not suspicious? Do you even hear yourselves? Do you even... Listen, I'm gonna be real with you. You either be upfront about what it is you're doing, where it is you're going, who it is you're working for, or you're getting out of our town. Now.
Excuse me.
Immediately pipes up, like looking around for the source of that voice.
I feel like after someone says that, everyone's gonna whip crack head turn to that voice.
Pretty much. Yep. And what do they see?
They see a elven woman of sorts, standing rather tall, nearing 6 feet. They wear an open-style gambeson, leggings and a gambeson, and jackboots, rather, sorry. They have rather unkempt hair with a tight bun pinned by 2 gold needles. Numerous earrings adorning her ears. And most peculiar about her is a number of runic bandages covering her eyes. She sports, almost like a walking stick, a massive halberd in her hands. And sitting atop one of the billhook's crooks is a very round and frustrated owl. And she speaks up and says, "Trust me, they're not cultists."
Does this owl look familiar?
And how would...
Yeah, it looks like one that might have had an axe nearly slung at it.
God damn it!
at least I specified that Branson has the point of mind not to just kill the bird for the feathers. He just tried to scare it off.
You can see it look your way, Branson, and it squints. But she starts walking toward the gathering crowd, and she says, "I've been around here a little while. Tell me you've seen someone dressed like that come through here," she says, gesturing toward the group, despite not appearing to be able to see you.
Roll me a persuasion check.
I get to roll.
$17. You notice a couple heads begin to turn. Like people looking amongst themselves, like beginning to murmur, beginning to whisper. The gentleman stands there and goes, "Yeah, but the thing is, we don't know what they're supposed to look like. Black cloaks, right? That's all we've ever seen. That's all the rumors say. I've seen one myself. Black cloak in the night, yeah? Look at them. Tell me that doesn't match the uniform. And the fact that they're walking around our town, doing whatever they want, but keeping their heads down, trying not to be noticed at every single step and turn. Tell me that's not sus. Tell me that's not suspicious."
At first, I thought it was. That is true. But the thing about the cult with no name is you wouldn't know they would pass through town. They are much better at what they think they're doing. These individuals just feel very out of place. If they were actual cultists, they wouldn't have made it to this morning. I would have saw to it. "No offense," she says, as she turns slightly toward the three.
None taken. I appreciate the vote of confidence.
Meanwhile, Branson has a look on his face that just says, "You would have tried."
Giving a little candid smile after saying that to the party, she turns back and says, "They do wear black capes and cloaks, this is true. But they also sport very garish colors, something very unlike the cult. And they have a lot of their belongings in plain view. The cults never show anything they own and hide everything. I know their motive all too well."
Why should we believe you?
She kind of white knuckle grips her giant halberd for a second. "I've had my fair share of encounters with them, and I have, let's say, a vendetta against them."
Roll me another persuasion check, this time with advantage.
Alrighty. Let me see, where was the... Alright, and... see, persuasion again? Alright. Another 17.
More people in this crowd that... There are more people being drawn in, by the way. You actually start to notice a couple other familiar faces. The 3 bards from earlier have actually poked their heads out, or peeping the encounter here. But you notice that a lot of the people that were starting to get riled up are starting to kind of shift glances and again more murmurs, but this time the sort of tone is more swayed. Maybe she does know what she's talking about. That does sound about right, doesn't it? Oh, but you're right. They have no name. And of course, if they have no name, then they wouldn't want to be seen in any capacity. So that would include clothing, that would include possessions. And if they are hiding their possessions, then obviously they wouldn't be brandishing a giant axe on their back. They wouldn't be bright orange. But then again, they could be bright orange. I mean, that looks like some type of ailment. That looks like some type of perhaps that's some type of magical experiment. We've heard the rumors. There are rumors that they tend to do things in unnatural things. Perhaps that's a consequence of what are their workings. But like how do we know? It could be some side effect of magic. Maybe they were right. Maybe that's a run and maybe he's cursed. Oh, curses are really nasty. You just kind of start to hear this back and forth.
What if I allow you to, or offer a sort of olive branch in a hopefully not simply demure sign of peace? Razvan will very slowly take his rapier, still in the sheath, out of the belt and place it on the ground in front of this individual. Until we leave town, you can hold my weapon at the very least. I do not intend to make any harm here.
Roll me another persuasion check with advantage.
16.
Yeah, but looks like he's trying to come up with some type of retort. He seems to be struggling for words. But then his eyes look over to Branson and all of Branson's weapons.
For his part, Humphrey takes a step forward to and unslings the rapier that he's been carrying like on his back basically. He puts it by Rasmussen's sword. I know circumstances may be difficult and you have reasons to be worried. Anything we can do to prove that we are here to do no harm, we are happy to oblige.
Might I offer a suggestion? And that voice of that bard that you met before Rita pipes up, and people start to, oh, look, she's coming. Oh, who is that? Who is that? Oh, we gotta get out of the way. She looks armed. And like people start to like move in the crowd out of the way. She just kind of stands there with her arms crossed. You really aren't trying to cause problems like you keep claiming and insisting that you are. There's one person who can pass judgment if you don't want to try to participate in the ways that you've been told to participate. Then you could always talk to the Meister Singer. You could always talk to Sargrove. I'm sure they'd be so interested in hearing about your story and seeing whether or not you actually are as you say you are, and not here to cause harm, to destroy our little town.
Very well. Where is this Sargrove?
Well, if Master Singer Sargrove isn't helping prepare for things at the concert hall, chances are you can find them at their home. It's not hard to miss. It stands out from all the other buildings.
Very well. And are we free to go and try to communicate with them? Looking back towards the suspicious mob.
If you wish to place a chaperone on us, we will have no objections. We want to collaborate.
There's a very devious smirk on Rita's face. And she kind of looks to the rest of the crowd, and in a very very like very graceful show. I need to double check a thing here. In a very like draping her arms out, like doing a really fanciful twirl. Turns around and states, if it would please the people of Melancholy, I would personally be happy to escort these suspicious adventurers to their destination. We, the Fairwinds, will make sure that this town is okay. Razvan, with advantage, I would like you to roll me an Arcana check. As people start to nod almost instantly in agreement.
10.
Even with a 10, you recognize this. You've seen this before. You've not done this yourself, but you have seen other musicians, other dancers, other poets who are able to simply by word, simply by hand motion or by song, are able to almost entrance the people around them. Did you watch as this individual has successfully done that to a crowd? A rather large, well, not super large, but a rather large, as in approximately 20 to 30 people sized crowd.
Razvan will make a note of that. It is appreciated, your assistance, of course. But perhaps we should try to make a move on towards this group.
I think it would be wise and in your best interest, to the very least, let us follow. At the very least, if you have nothing to hide, then it shouldn't be an issue, right?
I don't see any problem with that.
I'll offer to come with as well. I can help describe things about the cult to help the situation.
Yes, do not believe I got your name.
My name is Elena Mayers.
A pleasure to meet you. I am Razvan Fleur. Once this misunderstanding is resolved, I would love to learn more about this cult that we have seen. But for now, let us move forward towards the Meister Singer.
Very well.
Humphrey slowly will walk towards the two rapiers on the ground and grab them and hand Razvan back his.
Walk this way. What are we
I'll
going?
say that Branson makes a very obvious show of him reholstering his axe, and then also letting the orb grind a little against the fountain as he then hoists it back up just to prove again, if he wanted to hurt someone, they would have been hurt.
Roll an intimidation check.
Do-do-do. Six.
Okay. So, the four of you, realistically 7 of you, but the 4 of you, where are you going?
Towards the we're gonna try to go towards the concert hall, and if Master Singer is not there, then we will go towards where we assume their house is to be.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The concert hall itself is rather large for what you would expect a small town like this to have. Its exterior, though made of a combination of wood and stone, like having a firm stone base, keeping it all together. It is made predominantly with its walls and its dome-shaped roof made of wood. It strikes you as very interesting as well because the wood seems to have been almost warped to make this dome shape. But as you go up to the front, you'll notice that the doors are actually currently held open, unironically, in very concert hall manner. They're currently opened by chairs. There have been a couple chairs that have been set out, keeping the doors held open. And of course, as you would expect, you begin to hear the sounds of, well, music, chatter, different people tuning their instruments from on the inside. As you walk inside, it's exactly what you would expect. I know that's super descriptive, right? But it is a giant, almost like dome-shaped amphitheater, but it's indoors. It's a giant concert hall. You notice that there is a stage. It is at the center, lowest most point of this giant dome. There are audience chairs and benches all around the stage. You see a variety of different, like, they almost look like lamps or lanterns, but they're not. They're not quite like oil lamps or lanterns. They have this very weird, obscure shape, and they're currently off. So, as much as you would expect to see some type of magic, something going off, it's hard to tell. They just kind of give that air of like, oh, that's probably something really magical, but they're not. They're not currently functional or active. For the record, though, there are a variety of different balls of glowing blue or white light, which, Razvan, you would immediately recognize that to be dancing lights. You don't need a Arcana check to know that much. You've seen it a couple of different times now.
Which is strobe lights, floss dancing.
Pretty much. And you notice very interestingly that there are a couple of smaller ones as well that seem to cycle back and forth almost in waves along the many different pathways between the seats and the benches that head either towards other areas of this auditorium, towards the stage, or towards the one singular door against the back wall. And as you look into the room, it is filled with a multitude of different people. Interestingly enough, there are some folks here, a lot of them actually, that look, well, they look distracted. Yeah, they're tuning their instruments, but they look almost not here, not present.
Yeah, forgive me, but I've learned we should make our presence known. My name is Razon Fleur, and we are with some company as well. Is the Meister Singer nearby?
You notice very eerily that all of the heads sort of slowly turn. It's so creepy. It's all in unison. Same speed, same degree of turn. Their eyes all falling on you with the same distant look. This almost like zoned out, dissociated look. And one of them, randomly, in the middle just goes, "No. They are not here. We don't know where they are."
Apologies for the intrusion. I suppose we will
Lena.
let you... Okay.
No, you go first. Finish.
I suppose we will let you get back to tuning your instruments.
Lena,
Yes.
I want you to roll me an insight check with advantage.
Have an idea what's going on here. Oh, 16.
You said you had a feeling you understood what was going on here.
Individuals that aren't quite entirely here.
Yep. Your suspicions are confirmed.
I can't quite see at this moment, but the deadpan sound. Our soul is here.
The what?
That is rather rude to call them.
Is there anything else we can help you with?
Rosbon, out of curiosity, will look towards Branson's lantern.
It has not changed.
Yeah, Branson would not have been entertaining any kind of conversation if that color had changed.
Lena just kind of shudders and says we should probably go.
Alright, let's go to this Meister's house.
I can explain later.
That would be very much appreciated, yes. Do we see any kind of reaction to this scene by the... I forget the winds. Damn it, name.
Well,
the other three bards. Yeah, no, they have... They just blanking on the name.
The fair ones.
They're standing at the door just watching.
Do they look concerned? Is this normal for them?
They seem... Oh, well, roll me an insight check.
Will do.
21.
22.
Yeah, they seem unbothered. They seem to be focused on you entirely, actually.
Okay. Walk this way as we leave the theater.
Every time Rosman says it, I imagine he just does a full lean back tilt and just starts like stepping.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just picturing the tuxedo mask, like my job is done here, like full tilt with a cape.
But yeah, it sounds like we head to the Meistersinger's house unless we are further accosted.
No, as far as you're aware, but it is quite interesting that all of them just slowly turn their heads back to their instruments. In unison. In perfect sync.
We are walking.
Yep.
We'll whisper to Razvan, and we thought getting in touch with civilization would be better.
It is difficult to say. Everything about this place, whether it is melancholy or... I'm kind of just thinking to himself. Things are beginning to find some form of parallel with what we saw at the circus, but I'm still getting the lay of the land. Apologies that my insights cannot be more helpful at this moment.
I doubt either of us would have predicted the outcome, so no need to put that on yourself. But moving forward, we do know that apparently we have to be more social.
Indeed.
I will leave that to you.
Well, Mr. Branson, you have such a lovely stature.
For what it's worth, the vote of confidence is appreciated.
No, as you see, I'm not very good with dealing with people, especially when they make me angry.
But so it would seem a lot of things make you angry, Branson.
Did you say that right as soon as you approach this house that seems to be built from a completely different era?
All right, I guess we shouldn't. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say its lights appear to be off in the first floor of the house. This is a multi-floored house. I believe I mentioned. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I mentioned that it had 2 or 3 stories. And the first floor, all of the lights from the windows seem to be off. The second floor, you notice that the windows are predominantly curtained. And what tiny, teeny, tiny, weird, weirdly shaped windows are in the tower that makes up the third floor. You see, those windows have a yellowish white light just dimly beaming through them.
Well, I guess we should knock. He's gonna walk up. Is there a door knocker, or is it just a full door?
You get to this wooden door.
Mm-hmm.
You get to this wooden door. And you see the metallic iron door knocker that is drilled. Yes, drilled into this door. And this door knocker is the shape of a cat's face. But you notice, and the door knocker, by the way, I failed to mention this. The actual knocking part is 2 paws.
Nice knockers.
Oh God!
I was gonna say, if anyone's close,
I'm trying to get every Young Frankenstein reference in as I can.
good for you. Yes.
But you notice.
Oh yeah.
Immediately under the knocker, there is a particular symbol that, Humphrey, you noticed this before, has been engraved into the door. That particular symbol, not the one on the Nature's Guild, but the one with the like upside down crescent.
But I'd say anyone who's close to Branson as he's up about to use the door knocker just would hear him mutter, "Oh great, they're cat people with a time to lose onyx," and just start. He'll give 3 definitive knocks with this knocker, just bonk, 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 and then just step back and move behind the talkers.
For those of you with sight, you notice. Yeah?
Nothing. Go ahead.
You notice that the lights flick off almost instantly in that tower. There's silence. It's eerie silence. For like a solid 5 minutes. And then eventually the front door, you hear a as the door swings open. And in front of you, you see a rather short, actually, humanoid woman with what appears to be like padded clothing, like padded armor almost, but it has this sort of decorative feel to it. It has this sort of very formal, like out on the town sort of feel to it. A vest with a very fancy trench coat. There are the trench coat itself is actually like this deep, almost black red with silver trims and ropes that are sewn into it. The buttons themselves clearly made of like a a very polished silver. You notice that their hair is full of braids, and it's all been coalesced into one giant updo like bun. And they're on their hands are actually finely gloved with what you can assume is some type of very expensive, very delicate fabric. But all of you that can see at their waist is not only a rapier, 3 daggers, but also throwing axes. Lena.
Yes.
You notice that the person standing in front of you is very careful about their placement of weight. It's very balanced, very evenly distributed, but you can tell they're almost up on their toes. With the sort of stature of someone who is ready to move at any given moment in time. Like at a moment's notice, they could shift their weight and they could either bolt, or they could hit a stance, or they could duck. The simple fact that they themselves do not seem to carry a lot of weight, you hear no creaking in the floorboards. Furthermore, you would guess by the little bit of vision that you do have, this particular individual likely is not fully armed, so to speak, with the blurs of coloration kind of giving you the sense of they are at their barest. You see no signs of any weaponry, or at least nothing that would be noticeable to your particular vision. And furthermore, you do not see any signs of any instruments on this person. You also don't hear, for the record as well, you also don't hear the sound of a breeze hitting a string or something to a similar effect, like the wind hitting the reed of a flute just right. You don't hear any signs of that either. But this person greets you all at the door, sort of their eyes scanning each of you individually. I take it you were sent here. Okay. To what do I owe the pleasure? Who are you? What do you need?
Yes, we are a group of adventurers, and as you can see, we're followed by some of the townsfolk of Melancholy. They were suspicious of our arrival, and one of the fair winds offered to a good suggestion where we should meet you instead to help calm down the crowd, for you to determine our intentions here. We are suspected of being potential members of a cult or some other ne'er-do-wells, which is certainly not our intention to be.
Roll me really quickly insight.
12.
When you mentioned
you want to
that
give it a chance, Citric?
Yeah.
If I am allowed, yes, of course.
Yeah, you're allowed. You're allowed.
We're all looking at the person.
15, slightly better. Only
I
slightly.
will also say, Lena, with Vern at the ready and watching, I will also permit you to roll an insight if you would like.
Okay.
Also, that was perception for Humphrey. I need an
did I do?
insight.
Oh, insight. Right. It's kind of the same roll.
Okay.
If you want me to roll again, yeah, it's
Sure. Now that if it's the same, then
yeah,
that should be.
it's
We'll
the
just
same
take it.
modifiers, so yeah.
We'll just take it.
Yeah.
You're seeing.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, Humphrey is just seeing really hard right now.
Yeah, staring really intently.
Vern has assumed his usual position on the top of her bun of hair, and is like looking down.
Very ominous. Even with a 12, there's a thing that you all collectively notice. Razvan, when you mention the fair winds, you can visibly see this person like bite the inside of their cheek. But you get the general sense that unlike the people that you had met before, the air that this person has while they are listening is not one of offense. It's not one of being defensive, being on the offense, or even aggression. They're simply listening, and they're curious, and they're very clearly, even from just a little bit that you were able to gather, seem to have a lot of thoughts. They're doing a lot of consideration over what had just been said.
We had met a few people in our short time here in the town of Melancholy. One of which we were escorted to this place by one named Barhu, who told us to meet with the Shallow Mim inside the Nature's Guild. We made our acquaintance and decided that it might be best for us to try and find out more information about Kartakass at Skald. So, with the lovely advice of Shalomim, we agreed to take a job to escort the caravan tomorrow morning to Skald. So that is why we are here. We simply thought it would be prudent to wait at the inn until it is such time that we need to leave, but I did not realize that we were committing a social faux pas by not being more social. Please, if you could find it within your understanding to forgive us, or we may pay some sort of recompense, we will gladly do so.
We are new to this place, and as much as we wouldn't like to impose on the people we have had the pleasure to talk with, I believe if it is a must, both Shalomim and Mr. Lychee, who had the public posting of the escort job that we are expected to take, might vouch for us. But yes, we have no intention of causing any trouble or any commotion. We are sincerely apologetic if we broke any conventions, any rules that were expected of us as introductions. And hopefully we can resolve all of this in a peaceful manner.
I can definitely say that resolving it in a peaceful manner is it's not even a question. I apologize for the inconvenience on behalf of the people of my town. People are just scared. They are scared of what they do not know, and they're scared of what they do not understand.
We have faced quite a few unfortunate events on our way here. I can certainly understand people being on high alert and being on guard. As much of an honestly an inconvenience this has resulted to be, I understand the reason why.
That, and if I may be so bold, the bit about what was it you said, not making yourself more well known? There is an assumption that was made about your crew. An assumption that if you are truly, as you say, and I have reason to suspect, that you are being very forthcoming with me. That not only would you not know of that expectation, but you would not understand the fact that if that expectation is not met by people who, shall we say, look like us, makes a gesture, a sweeping gesture to not only you four, but also to themselves, then the assumption is that you are up to no good, as there are many in these woods, many in Kartakass, who have looked at the social expectations of bards and bardic kind and have flouted them deliberately.
I see.
But it may be short-sighted of me to suggest this, but I personally find that I am more appreciative of the approach that you have taken my town than to blatantly follow the rules and and expectations that you understandably are not familiar with, and quite frankly, from the sound of things, have been, if not explained to you at all, explained to you rather poorly.
If I might offer, it sounds like these individuals are not from this area, or maybe even farther. I could help teach them some of the norms for the land.
If you don't mind doing that, I would greatly appreciate it, Lena.
Absolutely, madam.
It is not often that we have genuine outsiders come to our parts. And if I may be so bold, people are quick to make a spectacle, even when it's inappropriate. And when the Meister Singer says that, they kind of tilt their head to the side and look, like, directly look past the four of you and at the trio that's been lurking behind you the entire time.
The Fairwinds.
Yes.
Is it wrong that I started just picturing the Fairwinds in the, like, heathers, like, colors?
I mean,
it's almost like... it's almost like... that's the joke!
I got there eventually.
Congrats.
You gotta understand, Sarah. I'm really slow.
You're good. You're fine.
Like parking in reverse slow.
You're good. It's fine. You're good. It's fine. But I do apologize genuinely on behalf of my town here. I find myself at a loss for words, but I do rest assured that your time here in Melancholy will not be met with any more vitriol, at least not as far as I am concerned, and not as far as that I will permit. If I am to be blunt, you so far have done nothing to indicate that you are an actual threat to my people in any capacity. And of course, if you've mentioned the fact that you even had counsel with Shallow Mim is no small feat, and I'm sure simply by being in their presence you can understand that.
Indeed. But we try to remain relatively unassuming.
A flaw in the system, my dear Mr. Fleur, is that you yourself carry yourself in a way that many of us here try to embody in ourselves as well. And when one sees another, and they just kind of shrug.
If you could see Elena's eyes, they would be rolling.
I just imagine the owl's eyes.
Yeah. Vern's eyes roll instead.
Your anger interpret?
Osvan will take off his hat. Well, could I request any advice as to how we should proceed further while we are here waiting for the caravan to leave tomorrow morning?
Well, if the people are requesting you to be a bit more open, I would personally recommend, if you are able to, when appropriate, of course, participate in the happenings of the town. It's hard to say what those things are. I don't necessarily know if there's anything happening at the tavern tonight. Of course, you are not expected to go to the Battle of the Bards, being outsiders yourselves. But of course, if you do decide to suit your fancy, you're welcome to go there. I cannot guarantee your safety once you enter those walls and the bards begin to fight, but nevertheless, if you're looking for a show, you're looking for a spectacle, you're certainly to find one.
On that note, if I may, the crew working at, well, I don't know if crew, maybe participants, I still haven't figured out fully. People at the concert halls seem rather off.
Off how?
Looks at Rasvan.
They all acted in a form of unison, almost like they were automated to do so.
The Meister Singer sort of blinks at you, giving that stare of like, and?
Perhaps it is something that we do not quite understand. We are used to individuals being very singular with our actions, not uniform. So we were curious.
It depends. It depends.
We do not mean to throw any suspicions, of course. We travel in our company as an undead hunter of some repute, Mr. Branson here. And we are certain they are not undead, but we were just curious as to what they were.
Again, we happen to be travelers from very far away. A lot of the customs here are very alien to us in many ways.
They're just people.
I see. We will not press any further.
She just looks genuinely confused, for the record. Like, it's not, there's no
not hiding
offense
anything.
taken.
Yeah.
It's just very like, what are you talking about? What?
Apologies.
Admittedly, the Meister Singer, Sargrove actually turns and looks at you, Lena, as if trying to give you like a non-verbal cue, then recognizes on cue that your eyes are covered and goes, "Oh, right. Right. Well, I'm going to make the assumption here that people around these parts are not going to be satisfied, and if I may be so bold, I don't necessarily trust those three. So here's what I'm going to do. They actually walk into the house for a minute. They're not really inviting you in necessarily. I mean, if you wanted to go in, you can. But if not, they sort of disappear into the darkness temporarily. You hear like the sounds of footsteps, and Lena in particular. Again, the thing that really strikes you is that the footsteps are almost like I hate to draw this comparison, but you know when you live in a house that either is super noisy or like you don't want your parents to know that you're awake. That's what their footsteps sound like and feel like to you, Lena, on the floor, on the ground. It's very much giving the sense of someone who is proceeding with caution. But as they return, they actually hold out to you a letter, and there is a little like wooden token, and it has actually genuinely carved into it a It's a little sigil. It's the it is the image of like oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the word. It's a harp. It's a type of harp. It's one of those like hand harps.
Lyre?
No, not a lyre, because the lyre looks like more similarly to a guitar, but it's like one of those like smaller. It's a specific type of harp that's like specifically designed to be. You can literally fit it on your lap, not like one of the big ones, right?
Dulcimer, almost like a dulcimer.
Yes, something. Yes. Thank you. I'm just me, the person who knows all of the musical instruments, forgets their names as soon as I go to say them. I've done this twice, if not 3 times now. It's a picture of a dulcimer that is physically engraved in the wood of this token. And the Meister singer hands it to you, Razvan, and goes, "That letter is essentially, if anyone is to pause and stop you, it is essentially a note of passage. It is a rite of passage, if you will, to be able to stay here if someone gives you trouble. And that token as well is essentially my way of indicating that, shall we say, proof of ownership."
I see. It is greatly appreciated, and your hospitality is not lost on us.
If you do run into any more trouble, do not hesitate to knock on my door once again. I have absolutely no issue, shall we say, keeping the peace.
Thank you for your service.
Razvan will give a very practiced courtier's bow. Well, for now, I suppose we can either return to some form of bar and allow ourselves a moment of respite, or see, Lena, was it?
Yes.
Do you know of any calm places to talk?
That's a good question. Saris?
I
And we
guess.
stay here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, it kind of depends on like. How do I word this? It depends on like what it is you're looking to do. Because if you're looking for like a place of quiet respite where no one is going to hear you,
No, that's
it's
fine.
gonna
People can hear
very
us. It's like,
okay.
is there like a town fountain like we could just like hang out near?
I mean, the broken one that you were at before.
All right. Now we're gonna go to Makeout Point.
All right, well, I guess it's time to fade to black. All right, break time, everybody.
To be frank, I
But there is the, huh?
Oh, sorry, I forgot you were giving player knowledge. My bad.
Yeah. No, there is the broken fountain. That is like a central point. It is no longer, shall we say, as bustling as it used to be, but I think that kind of comes with the territory of it no longer having water. There is also, uh, you know, Lena, a little. It's a very hidden sort of, not quite hole in the wall in terms of physicality, but like the energy of it. There is a tiny little building that if you don't know it's a bookshop, you won't know it's a bookshop. It's a place that specifically sells like parchment books, but it doubles quite literally as like a little like a fun little hiding place if you were looking for a quiet place to just not be seen or heard.
All right. She would turn to the party proper and say, I know a little secluded spot indoors that we can go to. A little book and supply store, kind of out of the way. I've been spending a time or two there. It wouldn't be a terrible spot to reconvene.
Brandon has the most confused look on his face for obvious reasons.
Very well. Do you mind showing us the way?
Absolutely.
Before we do so, are we to assume our escort group is going to be following us, or are they... Do they have the answers they needed by us visiting the Meister? And looks at the fair winds.
If that question is for the Meister singer, you will note that they are rolling their eyes.
No, the question was actually to the group. Like, Humphrey is facing them. He's like, are you going to following us, or are you satisfied?
They seem to be, like, chatting amongst themselves. One of them, like, looks over their shoulder, realizes that you are all staring at them, and is like, guys. Kind of like, shall we say, assume the position. As they are now giving you their undivided attention.
Seeing this, Branch will reach over, take the letter out of, like, Razvan's hands, and the token, hold it both in front of them. Are we good? With a very tired and slightly angry look.
You know what? Roll me an intimidation check with advantage.
Yeah.
16.
They all kind of like shifty eye look at each other, and kind of collectively have this like oh shit sort of look that just like passes over all three of them, and they're like, and Rita looks at you and goes, yeah, I guess we are good, huh? Right. Great. Well, we'll see you around then. Again, don't be a stranger. And the three of them, like, kind of like that, do that little hop, skip, like, run, get out, like, stop being seen, sort of, like, energy as the three of them abscond.
Alright, so we go to this bookshop.
Alright, I'll lead the way.
And that is where I'm going to call a little break. We're gonna pause right there.
Break time! This break is brought to you by...
No!
Friendship.
That's nice.
And cerveza cristal!
See, friendship is running low right now.
I will put in I'll put in call chat for you guys to see the stand-in art that I made for Lena. Citrix working on a proper piece, but at least I give you something to look at.
Not proper, please. Just,
unlike Lena.
No, the picture you did looks already like fantastic. I'm just like translating to my like to the standard.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, you did a fantastic work there.
You mind if I posted the link in chat?
Oh, not at all. Yeah, people could totally see it.
One minor note though, they could have a cerveza cristal in one of the hands.
That is true.
Is that going to be a requirement now?
Cedric goes back into the art for Branson, like gets rid of the lantern. He's holding up just a case of cerveza cristal.
The worst part is that I can. And the worst part is that worse than that is that the post already have going for the sketch of Lena has a hand perfectly placed to have a beer in there.
You're setting yourself up at this point. I'm sorry to be the person to inform you, Citric, but you are setting yourself up for it at this point.
Okay, I can agree with this so long as Vern can carry one too.
Sure. The owl is drinking now.
I'm gonna step away for 2 seconds. Don't destroy the chat while I'm gone, please. Thank you.
Well, it's out of my hands because I also go to pee, so I'll be right back.
I promise only to try. So hello, chat. You are here with us now. I said us, or is it just me? Have I been left alone?
It's just you.
Is that wooden arms, Bubba? There's something going on with the arms, that's for certain. I will say that much so right now.
But congrats, Skeletalpha, for joining us in the Bone Zone. There are 3 skulls looking down at a unassuming orange.
to be fair, I've been in worse company. As I keep saying, we have way too many skeletons in this blood closet.
We're just hanging out in there. We're shooting dice.
You know the rattle them boys meme? Like on three skeletons?
I am returned.
My timeline was blessed with many instances of the skeleton dancing to September.
It was the day. The 21st night of September. And people did remember.
But yeah, well, it's great that we get to finally welcome Alpha to the team. And it's immediately in the stereotypical, the party deals with racism.
I mean...
More xenophobia than a direct race.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yes, my favorite domain of dread is the city of Cleveland.
Hey, at least it isn't Detroit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Detroit is a literal domain of no. Detroit is a literal domain of dread. If you find out some of the stuff that just happens there, you would be terrified.
I thought Ohio was a domain of dread.
Ohio and Michigan kind of form an unholy duality of dread.
They are twin monsters.
Meanwhile, Missouri and Kansas are just domains of corn.
I mean, technically, if Cleveland is a domain of dread, that would make Ohio the Shadowfell.
Damn.
Yeah, it's been fun so far.
Yeah. Though I was worried that the Fairwinds might become recurring characters because they're just 100% the characters not suited for Branson.
Oh, they are absolutely going to be a recurring thing. I can already tell.
Fair enough. Then I just gotta wonder who Saris will commission for them.
All right. I need some lore. I need some knowledge dropped on me, Citric. You ready?
I will try.
What's the stereotype about Bolivians that I'm unaware of?
Bolivians?
Do they have smelly feet? I need something weird.
I can't think of anything immediately.
Give it a minute, we'll see if Chad has anything.
Well, because if in the U.S. we have joking comedic assumptions about anyone from Canada or from Mexico. What's that for fucking Bolivia? I know nothing about Bolivia, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly fine. Well, the one thing in Chilean will say is that they are always mad that we took their coast.
Yeah.
Are
they landlocked?
Yeah, because of us.
Oh, I see.
So
now I'm just imagining the Megamind meme, but coastless.
Coastless.
Oh no. I want you to know in that brand new shiny special channel, I was cackling my ass off when I was like, "Oh, Branson's winding up for the pitch. Oh, he's winding up for the pitch."
Yeah, no, that
in a campaign of so little combat, Branson wants to fight so badly.
Well, no, it's Branson's only trained to fight. He lived in seclusion for 2 years and then spent most of his time tracking undead. He is not geared for social situations.
No, here's the thing. As a character, the last thing Humphrey will the thing Humphrey will always try to avoid is combat. As a player, I love to roll dice. We going, we fucking going. But yeah.
I should also point out that this is something that I had to warn like Alpha about starting the campaign with us, even though he follows it, I had to be like, you need to understand, because I offer a lot of the homebrew I make to people, and some of them change your creature type to a very specific one. You'd be surprised. It's not actually surprising. It turns them to undead. So I was like, you can't have these subclasses because Branson will on-site you.
I feel the need to come in here and defend myself a little bit. So to the comment about no combat, you talked your way out of combat this session.
Oh, absolutely. I don't blame you at all. I'm just saying it's funny. Like, he's ready for a fight, and then myself and Citric are like, nah, no fight.
No, literally, that happens so many times. It's like, yeah, I'm ready for a fight to happen. No fight.
Yeah, there was one last resort that Branson... Well, two, because one I thought of after we got out of that situation, but there was two things that Branson would have done to try to defuse it, which probably would have just set off as much. Is if they asked to take his axe, he would have just raised his hand to the sky and shot a witch bolt and go, I am a weapon. And the other
that would have been instant combat.
Yeah, but the other thing was something I forgot I could do because I've never played a Yuan Ti before. I could have just used suggestion at any time to make him just shut up and go away.
Oh yeah, you have that for free.
Yeah. It's almost like Branson is a type of character who I don't think cleverly for, and then when I go through my spells, I'm like, oh, why did I just do that, damn it?
Cast it, just tell him, piss off.
That was basically what I was gonna say.
To be fair, you forgetting that they have suggestion is not as bad as me forgetting that they have magic resistance. Because that one is rather useful.
Yeah, the only thing you should forget about with Yuan Ti is that you can freely talk to snakes, because that's up to where you're playing if you'll even see a snake.
Yeah, that is the most situational thing. It's like you have free animal friendship, but only with snakes. It's not a bad spell, but yeah, only snakes.
Which I do have a plan if you ever decide to use that.
I mean, we had a chance with it during the carnival, but soon that was very much, oh, let's explore this place too. Let's get the fuck out, let's get the fuck out, let's get the fuck out.
So I just noticed in chat, what were you guys talking about Ohio while I was gone?
We don't talk about Ohio.
I feel suddenly called out for some reason. I was saying that Cleveland is my favorite domain of dread, and then Scout said, isn't that also Detroit? And I said, I think Ohio and Michigan just form one collective domain of dread.
Okay, all right. So here's the thing. Cleveland is not the domain of dread. At least it's not the worst domain of dread in the entire state of Ohio. And that much I can promise you.
Yeah, I actually do know what the actual domain is because I was sent there on a mission trip growing up. It's Tulsa.
Oh?
But no, that's Oklahoma.
No, I was specifically in Ohio.
Yeah, I know it was somewhere in Ohio, but now I can't remember where it is. I know it wasn't Cleveland.
No, it's not Cleveland.
Cincinnati?
It's not Cincinnati. You'd think, but it's not Cincinnati.
Columbus?
Columbus still no, because here's the thing. Here's the thing about Ohio.
That is the extent of my knowledge of Ohio.
Now I remember, it was Toledo.
Oh yeah, you know, Sandusky, Toledo. I can understand why you would say that. Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah,
understood.
Literally on the last day of said mission trip, we got to watch a very violent arrest.
Oh, good. Still not where I would put it. Still not where I would put the biggest domain of dread. If I'm being completely honest. The place that I would say is the worst domain of dread is actually north of Cleveland.
Isn't that just water?
Nope, northeast.
Oh, okay.
There is an entire, and the best part is it's not yes, there's a city in it, but it's not even an entire city. It is, and you could look this up. It's an entire county. It is the county of Ashtabula.
I'm sure Zaka will join in and agree.
What you need to know about the county of Ashtabula is that about 75 to 90% of it is owned by the mafia. But there's nothing there. There's nothing there.
The broke mafia.
No, it's land
Yo,
rights.
it's my new gang name.
Broke Mafia. But I do think we got everyone back if we want to start back up.
One, two, three, not it.
What do you mean not it? You're the DM. You have to be the one who tells us what's happening next.
You are it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. The second you were like, do we want to do this? Yes, you were it.
And?
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right. Are we good?
Yeah.
Jokes aside.
Unless there's any more Ohio lore you want to give us.
Listen. We'd be here for a while. You want to talk about still remaining real life sundown towns? Go to Logan.
I live near, or I've driven through Oregon many times. I'm aware of sundown towns, unfortunately.
Yep. But nope. We shall get rocking and rolling. If I can find the music. Okay. Good to know that Bubba is also ready.
Bubba's always ready.
But they do have a cold today, so they are doing their best.
Boy,
We appreciate everything that they
strongest
do.
soldier.
Mm-hmm.
We also see El Robot is ready. Congrats, roll initiative.
We're fighting chat?
So,
yeah.
Yeah, with chat.
They had it coming.
Actually, real quick.
Yeah.
Vaughn, is your fucking alert Molly McGee?
Yes.
Amazing. Sorry, I love that show. So I just
No, you're good. Also, the sheer amount of disappointment, I didn't realize that I had put my can of Coke next to the fan of my laptop, and now it is extremely warm, and I'm sad.
Oh no.
That's okay. I have a glass of water here. I will force myself to hydrate.
You know what you could drink?
If you're about to say Cerveza Cristal, the answer is actually no.
Some tea. I gotta keep Citric on his toes.
You're right, I could drink some tea, but I have to DM, so I can't go brew it.
Nothing.
So, the little tiny shop that Lena was talking about, it quite literally is a little tiny shop. It doesn't even look like, it doesn't even look like it should be a shop. It looks like a shack. It looks kind of like in that previous town that you had been to before, the one that you did not learn the name of. The way that some of those homes made mostly of mud and straw looks, so does this. It strikes you as odd, considering the fact that this is supposed to be a place of parchment and supplies. But as you go inside, you open the door, the wooden door, you notice that on the inside of the mud and the straw is brick, actually, as if holding it in place, as if keeping itself incredibly secure. And for those playing the home game and for those keeping an eye out, you saw no sigil etched into the door. The door itself was bare.
Sorry,
But nevertheless,
no sigil?
Yeah, no sigil.
Okay.
Nothing.
I did not know if you said gnome sigil.
Gnome sigil, yes! No. No sigil.
We just pointed, wow, we've got both being profiled and racism in this town. It's great.
No. No gnomes. I'm sorry. I regret to inform you, no gnomes. But lots of books and paper. As you would expect from a bookshop, there are a plethora. I mean, it's small, so it's not necessarily like the largest library you've ever seen, but there definitely are plenty of bookshelves. You can easily find yourself kind of hidden secluded, as mentioned. If you were to, say, slip between a couple of different bookshelves and just hide in a corner somewhere. You also note there is a front desk, and you see a bunch of, like, stacks of paper with, like, these tiny, it's hard to see from this distance, but, like, tiny paperweights on them. You see barrels, physical barrels, but instead of, like, ale, which, by the way, there are, like, ale brand logos on them, but again, instead of ale, there are scrolls and, like, rolls and rolls of parchment that are sitting inside of them. You see as well this entire box, and I do mean like full crate box of just feathers. Lots of feathers. And behind this desk, this front desk, this shopkeeper's desk, you see an individual who is on the shorter side of humanoid, no taller than 4'11". So like barely peeping over desk. Um, they themselves are kind of dressed in like earthier tones, very plain. They don't seem to be trying to make a show of themselves like you've seen. They seem to be a very average person. But one thing you do notice is that they have these circular metal glasses with like the very steampunky like multiple lenses, like magnifying glasses, that are clipped to the side of their glasses frame. uh they have very, very long, very frizzy, uh deep brown hair. And another thing that strikes your attention is that their eyes themselves are almost like a gray. Like they're so pale, that it almost gives like anime character gray vibes. And they kind of like almost jump when the door opens, like a little squeak leaves their mouth, like um and they kind of like the ledger that they were writing in, they almost like instinctively like pull it up towards their face with their eyes like peeping out over the top of the book.
To get through the door,
Yep.
Lena almost walks into the door frame, but you guys kind of see Vern shift his weight and step on one of the gold hairpins on her head, and Lena shifts to the right to go through the door frame.
Interesting.
I assume, is there like a place for a few people to gather and sit?
Yeah. You find like 2 chairs and like floor space essentially.
Rosvan will sit on the floor.
The person peeping from behind the book, do they say anything or?
They squeaked, they held their ledger up, and they're just staring at you with wide mouse eyes.
Right. From the floor.
Humphrey takes a couple steps. Yeah, Humphrey takes a couple steps and like takes his hat off. Good afternoon.
Just staring at you. They're just staring. It's like you don't have to roll insight, Humphrey. They have never seen an orange blob walking and talking with clothes before, and they're staring. It's rude. It's very disrespectful.
I know what they're staring at.
Humphrey is actually kind of relieved at the encounter. Like he has been expecting this interaction the whole time. It's like finally, like this makes sense to me. Yes, we don't want to intrude. We will just be hanging around for a bit. Pay no mind to us.
Noted.
And Humphrey goes back with the group.
Oh, no, Lena, if we could have a moment to talk.
Oh, absolutely. She'll find like a nice spot to just like lean the halberd up, like gently against somewhere where it won't fall down and knock over a bunch of books. Um, and she would just like kind of like cross her arms and say, as mentioned, my name is Lena Mayers. I too am a bit of a traveler, though. I hail from a bit closer lands, it sounds like, than you lot.
Are you from Kartakass?
Yes, I hail from the distant town of Harmonia.
I see. Well, yes, if it was not obvious already. Myself, Branson, and Humphrey are not from Kartakass. We are not from the circus either. We are from our own individual lands and have wound up here.
Kind of quirks her head a little bit toward you, Rosvan. How did you get here?
The mists.
Oh, she kind of bristles at that. What?
I cannot speak for everyone, nor would I attempt to, but from my understanding, we share a similar story. Something drew us to a whimsical circus of sorts. Upon our arrival, we attempted to investigate and found all manner of strange occurrences, even for a circus. We seemingly could not leave the circus, however, as it was covered in a large mist that seemed to roar in from nowhere. We were warned not to travel, but as we did not want to stay at the circus anymore, we tried to brave it. Upon our travel into the mist, we found ourselves what we would eventually find out to be is Kartakass, outside of a town that was unfortunately mostly abandoned and destroyed. After some time wandering, we found a few companions, one Juji and Barhu, who led us to Melancholy here, where we now make your acquaintance.
That's quite a tale. That would get you some renown, certainly at the Longhorn Inn, if you told that one.
I left out a lot of embellishments, but
that would certainly draw a crowd.
Hopefully that provides context for why we are here.
I confess I don't recognize this circus that you mentioned, but I certainly know about the mist. And you said you traversed it.
Not once, but twice. Upon our travels from the circus, we attempted to try and find our way out and wound up in Kartakass, but when we found ourselves within the company of Barhu, who led us to a cave to try and escape these mists that seemed to be traveling upon our approach, it seems that we had traveled with the mists closer towards this town. I can't quite explain how or why, but that is what happened.
If it is of any help, or at least it clarifies things a little bit, the way we made it to Kartakass, it was not entirely on our own. We walked through the mist, yes, but we were, I guess, guided through them. It was, believe it was a fake creature that went by the name Brunhilde. That was the name, right?
I see. I don't know of any particular entities that exist within the mist. All I truly know is that anyone, at least in Kartakass, that travels that mist is most certainly considered dead.
We got that much information from Barhu, who was rather adamant that we do not attempt to brave the mists, but we did not have any choice in either circumstance. However, upon our travels, we did run into, as I said, that cave trying to hide from the mist. That is where we encountered the cult with no name. Or at least the remnants of them.
She kind of she visibly bristles at the mention of the cult. Never good when you encounter them by accident or with purpose.
We
but
did
I must
cover
say,
this from there, and you're just gonna You're gonna hear and feel as Branson unshoulders the orb and drops it just in front of them as a 40-pound weight just hits this wooden, I'm assuming, floor.
Piccolo's weights.
Lena would crouch down to observe this orb. You would see her, like, call Vern over, and Vern kind of leans over, and you see her, like, pinch the bridge of her nose, and the runes on her bandages flare up, and when Vern opens his eyes, they glow the same color, ochre orange. And she will take a moment to observe the orb herself.
Ponder.
So first off, sorry.
Pondering the orb.
You, Lena, there's like it's not even necessarily like, oh, I can feel the magic. It's the vibes are rancid. Like you don't have to know shit about magic to know that this is probably an incredibly powerful artifact. And again, the vibes are very rancid. In fact, I would hesitate if I were you. Of course, if you want to, you can touch it.
How rancid are we talking? Like scale 1 to Ohio.
No, she is making no effort to reach over and touch that.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to, and you can just gut instinct. Probably a bad idea.
Well, on the good news side of things, it's wonderful you got this away from a sect of the cult. On the worst news, keeping it wrapped up and not touching is probably the best. Having nothing to do with it is better. Keeping it on your person is better than them refinding it.
Interesting.
If
Well,
I would
our hope was to take it to Skald and see what we can do about being rid of it more permanently.
That's certainly a possibility. There might be some individuals that would be happy to undo something of that ill repute. If I were to take a guess, anyway.
Something that did strike me as curious, not more than a little tragic. The first town we found was bereft of life. It would seem that there were notes that the town's Meister Singer had not been paying their debts, taxes, and it was evidence of struggle within the town. It looked like lichens were attacking lichens. It was quite difficult. But on top of that, upon our travels beyond there, we found evidence of, again, various lycanthropes attacking each other. Where we are all from, individually, lichens are not a common sight, so I apologize if me using this word is somewhat offensive, as it has been.
To be fair,
but it is unique to us.
It's not even common knowledge that they are not undead.
So I was curious. I do not fully understand the power structure of Kartakass. Is there clans of these werewolves fighting each other?
Lichens and similar creatures certainly hold sway, especially outside of cities. Warring clans I've not heard of, except in hearsay and rumors. This is the first witness accounts that I'm actually ever having experienced. They do have a habit of committing to extortion and similar things when possible. And some rumors even state of organization, but nothing concrete. It is sad to hear what befell that town. I know back at home, some of my family and fellow workers had run-ins with similar creatures on occasion out in the woods logging. I'm not quite sure what caused the town to befall this entirely.
It was quite sad, but something else that somewhat struck me is, well, it would appear that there is no one to enact a form of justice for the people who are lost out into the woods and beyond. From my, albeit limited understanding, I have come to know of a different name, a name that is somewhat curious to me. One Harkin Lucas, Lord of these lands, supposedly.
When you say that name, she quickly looks over at the librarian and just
Yeah, actually, Humphrey looks at you as like, really?
He's gonna look, this is the only time we're gonna get information.
Don't speak that name lightly, lest you visit ruin upon yourselves. They say it draws eyes of individuals you don't want seeing you.
See.
But, yes, I'm aware of that name. That was the Dreadlord.
They are no longer.
Can't remember the exact amount of time. It's been a while since they were killed. Since then, the Meister Singers, those that are the highest hierarchy of great organizations or locations, now vie for power instead, acting much like a governance.
Now I begin to understand. That would explain why things seem very lawless out here. Well, I appreciate your insights, of course. If there's any questions that we can answer, by all means, we will do so. But I am curious about your hometown and the rest of Kartakass, but on a more superficial level, so it can wait.
If I'm to be frank, since you'll be traveling with us, I'd actually like to question what you just said.
Certainly, I'll answer what I can. Branson, you said it was?
Yes. I won't say his name, but we were led to believe only a few hours ago. They are very much alive. I can say it on the authority of Shallow Mim.
It's hard to read her some of her facial expressions due to the runic bandages on her face, but there's definitely some kind of perplexed look going on. It's common knowledge that he perished. What do you mean?
Shallow Mim warned us. Basically, in the way they spoke, and they spoke very frankly with us, that he was a threat that is still looming. We were also told that he will never lie to us.
Well, if that's true, that is something I would say dire, but there's also fear of the unknown with all these factions now struggling in the power vacuum that raises uncertainty. At least with Dreadlord, we knew what was and will be. I'm unsure how to feel about this information. Why do you wish to know so much about it?
Honestly, just to avoid him, and also because if we met him, I at least have one bargaining chip.
I see.
Also, we have no way of knowing how to return to our individual homes, whatever they might be from here. It helps to know the power structures of Kartakass so that we know who to avoid and who might be able to help.
I guess I should ask a bit of a counter question. You didn't seem to understand how the norm acts when you enter a city. How does it work when you attempt to make yourself known in public spaces from where you're from? How to gain glory and renown?
Again, I cannot know what I attempt to speak for the others, but I am from a rather large city known as Baldur's Gate. There, you are known by your deeds, not by interactions. You would be spending many months or more trying to introduce yourself to every individual who lives or passes by. So it is often one's actions that are seen to gain renown rather than one's name.
I spent a large amount of my time I'm away from society, and then when I began hunting the undead, I would just go to a tavern, rent a room, and tell the tavern owner if there have been any undead or any unrest in the area to let me know. I will be here for a few days, and then I would move on to the next sighting or story.
As for me, the city of Sharn is probably one of the largest cities in the continent, and in my experience, whomever is trying to be loud and trying to get their name around usually find themselves sleeping in the river.
The realm of Kartakass and its social hierarchies behaves most like yours, she says, gesturing down to you, Humphrey. And she thinks for a long moment. Consider Kartakass somewhat like... I'm sure you've seen it, going place to place, the grand halls, the entertainment, the grand spectacle. Kartakass's hierarchy functions almost like a stage of sorts, you could say, where things such as acting, drama, making a spectacle of situations, being two-faced, being able to play someone you're not, is how you get anywhere in this world. This includes making yourself known anywhere you go as if you're far more important than you are. Even so, things not quite so out in the open make extreme ripples in this world. Things such as rumors, spreading gossip. They influence many things. Some even say, if a rumor is strong enough, it might even affect reality here. But that in and of itself is a rumor, so take it at face value.
I see. Do you mind if I somewhat switch the conversation and ask a personal question?
Certainly, I'll be happy to answer anything.
Harmonia. It's, from my understanding, last I remember us looking at the map, is a long way away from where I believe we are. What brings you out this far?
She sighs and was like a little, I wouldn't quite say despondent, but distant for a moment. And she will say, I suppose you could say I fell in with the wrong crowd. Let something cloud my judgment, and now I'm both trying to get away from it and get my own revenge.
Ah, I see.
Oh, so you're a cultist.
And she gives a wry little smile. Ex-cultist.
Eh. If you were giving off any necromancy, this lantern would have turned blue and I would have already killed you.
I can safely say I'm not undead, but I've definitely been turned into something else.
Are you not in the form that you were born in?
Close. I mean, I was an elf for certain. I don't know what I am now. She kind of like looks at her arm. You almost thought maybe it was some kind of decorative glove or something. Y'all didn't really get a good look at it yet. But her hand is legitimately made of some kind of what looks like mahogany wood. Her fingers taper almost gnarled and sharp at the ends, and there might be little burrs of wood near the elbows. The wood promptly stops at 2 zigzagging rings of very intricate runes around near the top of her bicep. She says, I don't know, but I was attempted to be made something I'm not, I suppose, the best way to put it.
Fair enough, but if you're in the... From what I can understand, your grudge is with this cult, and you will want to strike them down if you see them. This is something I should warn you about. It is the reason why I am here.
What is that?
Well, from what you're saying, either... Well, Branson is like trying to word this carefully, considering there's been a lot of information given. 5 years ago, my entire trade caravan was wiped out by a horde of undead. Their master was a vampire necromancer who was swallowed by the mists as he noticed me. I was contacted by a voice which gave me this axe and my magic. And it told me that when I could swing this axe and every blow would be a killing blow, it would lead me to the mists and to my prey. I warn you, this man is not a man or creature or anything else you may think. He is a living disaster. And the voices led me here.
Do you know this man's name?
No. He only said one thing when he noticed me. Ah, you missed one.
I know what a necromancer is. Vampire? I swear I've heard this word before. I don't recall.
They are a type of undead. They feast on living blood and have certain powers.
Showing some measure of trust, looking almost guilty, Razvan will kind of take off his hat and kind of put a finger to his mouth and show a set of fangs past his palish skin that looks almost deathly. I am not a vampire, but I am known as a dhampir. My father was a vampire. And while I do not share the undead curse, it is very often attributed to people who look like me. Vampires, they are typically parasitic in nature. They get people's guard down, they feast upon the blood, they gain strength and power from them, and they try to domineer over them. At least all the ones I have read about. I've never actually met a vampire in full.
She slowly nods. She seems like even though she doesn't have visible eyes, she seems to have taken notice when you open your mouth somehow.
Ah, okay.
It's your breath, we didn't want to say anything.
She did seem to react to you like showing your mouth.
All right. And Mr. Humphrey here was not always the specimen you see before you, from my understanding. Before he traveled through the mists, he was a man, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. I am unaware as the circumstance, as the reasons why, but as after I traveled the mists, I lost my body, I guess. I've been turned into well, something a lot more shapeless. I am still trying to understand how it works for the most part, but one of my main goals is to restore myself to how I am supposed to be, not this thing I've been turned into. So if it's any consolation, I can relate to feeling other than being made into something you did not ask to.
I wanted to ask because I was hearing your voice from much shorter than normal. I was curious, but I didn't want to sound insulting.
She probably also heard the like sloshing sounds.
Yeah.
When he walks.
Wait, does this place not have dwarves?
Dwarves? What's that?
Branson's just
Ask
gonna have
and answer.
Yeah, I was about to say Branson now has the face I posted in call text. Oh. Well.
Is that what you are? She says, looking down at Humphrey.
No, I am just Humphrey.
Oh, okay. No, I do not recall a creature called a dwarf, unfortunately.
Alright. Well, I think we are on a good enough bearing since you're going to be following us. I will speak to Liche in the morning, and explain that you will be traveling with us. For now, I say we either retire for the night or head to the bar.
Do you mean Dordo? Lychee Dordo?
Try to remember if that's his last name.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
That the person that opens the outposts?
Yes.
Huh. Well, this got interesting. Okay, certainly.
Oh, so he is a smuggler. Okay.
And no, not a smuggler, but it is a merchant of some renown around all sorts of parts.
All right.
Also, it's something I do feel is necessary to say. Thank you back there when people were accosting us.
Oh, certainly.
You had no reason to intervene for strangers, and yet you did. That is certainly noted and appreciated.
I confess, I've been keeping an eye on the entrances to Melancholy for some time, watching for individuals that match cultist types, I suppose. You had piqued my curiosity, and I had Vern here follow you around. I had him skulk about as you entered the town. I had him watch you in the bar for some time. I'm surprised you didn't see him, but then again, there might have been a crowd. And I suppose you saw him when you left later that morning with a bit of axe practice, she says, kind of giving a little curt smile toward Branson.
Yes, Rosman will pull out the feathers. I believe these belong to you, as he points them towards the owl.
The owl just like squint. Vern just squints, and Landa says, "You may keep them. It's fine."
Speaking of which, this I wanted to do when we entered, but we got too caught up. Branson wants to peek over to that like tub of feathers that was mentioned. Are any of them an owl feather?
Roll me an investigation check.
Oh boy. $13 with a nat 20 on the other side.
You see a lot of crow feathers. Perhaps raven? You're pretty sure they're crow. You see a couple vulture feathers. You see a couple chicken feathers. No owl feathers.
At which point in his head, Branson will just go, I made the right choice.
If it's any consolation, should you have accidentally struck him true, and much to his own chagrin, he would have merely discorporated.
What?
What does that mean, sir? It would have left their body and potentially returned at a later time.
Yes, they're more of a... They take the form of an owl, but are more of a nature spirit, is, I guess, the best way to put it.
Oh, druid stuff. Okay.
She thinks for a moment on that, and she's like, "That's actually kind of close, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't give you a 100% answer what it actually is, because I'm still figuring out things myself, but druidic is fairly close."
I mean, that's fine. A magic voice gave me magic. I don't know what I am.
You and me both. Except, minus a bit of a voice, but certainly still struggling with the what I am.
Damn it, Saris. Oh.
What is on?
But yes, I suggest we either return to the inn or head to the bar, because at least we know we can talk to the bartender, and that will count as us being open, because then if anyone tries to talk to us, they're being rude.
Absolutely. Sounds like a fantastic plan. And I would certainly be I would certainly be happy to travel with you along your way. I confess I became a little bit trapped in melancholy, not quite finding the right caravan to move on.
Oh, did you want to travel with us to Scald?
I mean, should you need any kind of extra help, I would be certainly happy to accompany you.
And as it would happen, our previous companion who we had traveled with can no longer assist, and we did promise the caravan that we would have a set of 4 hands to help. So if you would like to take their place, I see no reason why not.
Certainly.
Your timing is quite certainly impeccable.
I have...
This does seem to benefit all of us.
I have no qualms with playing the part of bodyguard or doing some heavy lifting. She would gesture toward the vague area where the halberd is, and then you see Vern kind of peck on one of the crystals on the hairpin, and she adjusts her hand a little bit. And says, I am no stranger to combat either.
I can tell you you seem to be able to carry yourself in a fight. Let's just hope that we don't have to use those sort of skills.
Oh, absolutely. I would certainly love just a uneventful jaunt to Scald, though. Considering how the distant woods work these days, that is most likely not the case.
Also, I may have made the mist hostile to us.
Okay, you can't see her eyes, but do you know the meme gif of the guy blinking and, like, looking at you?
Kind of the
doing
two
like,
head shake,
blink.
like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, what?
This would also be kind of a thing for the rest of you, because, like, Branson, I don't remember Branson mentioned it.
Baru mentioned it.
Oh, I did? Well, then I'll just do it for...
Yeah, Baru was the one that actually told you, like, you fucked up.
Yeah. So it turns out you were right. Some force controls the mists. It was encroaching on us, chasing us almost, through the woods when we traveled with Barhu. One of my powers allows me to either create vast quantities or destroy a fair amount of water or water vapor. To save us, I destroyed a fair portion of the mist. It angered something.
I see.
If it is any consolation, it seemed to be angered only at Mr. Branson. Sorry, Mr. Branson.
This bar who you speak of, were they able to traverse the mist along with you when you came here, or? Because it sounds like it might have not been chasing the group. It might have been chasing them specifically. If you're able to walk through it just fine.
Interesting.
As far as I'm aware, Barhu is a native to these lands and guards the woods as part of the Nature's Guild. He's a druid and also, we found out very much later, a werebear.
If anything, he was the one to warn us to not try to fight the mists, so I would find it surprising if the mist was antagonizing him directly. He did look like he had his bearings about this land.
A werebear, you say? Interesting. I've heard that they're typically amiable. It's usually things such as werewolves that you have to worry about. Though it's not always the case. We'll have to see if the mist is able to retain memory of your actions against it. The farther we go from civilization, the more likely we'll run into it.
Whichever way, we are glad to have you on board. And once again, if this is like what we can do to repay you for your kindness before, we will have no objections in anything you need during the travel.
Well, it sounds like the amount of, for all intensive and kind worded purposes, stirring trouble, I might find my answers just sticking with you.
It's not like we intend to. Just keep happening.
It happens. It in a place you're unfamiliar with, things like this can happen. Even cities far apart in this land can have wildly different cultural norms. So, breaking some fine ceramics and the like can accidentally happen along the way.
Well, I certainly appreciate the candidness and the trust, and I look forward to our adventures forward.
He's looking forward to making some fantastic stories we can tell.
As the four of you wrap up your conversation, do any of you peek back over your shoulder at the fifth person in the building?
Sure, every now and then.
Vern 180 head turns.
Oh, that's great. Amazing. If maybe head turns, their eyes fall upon a set of eyes that are wider than dish plates, and you all collectively hear the sound of a book dropping on the floor.
Oh.
Oh dear. We hope we didn't startle you.
Their voice is like high pitchy squeaky caught in their throat. Like they're trying to say words and only the worst kind of like can't speak sounds are coming out of their mouth.
Well, Lena would go over and like kneel down next to them.
Just very like the look of someone who has overheard much that they should not have overheard, and they realize that they have heard much that they should not have overheard.
And she would like say like kindly like, you're not in any kind of trouble. As a matter of fact, thank you for having a peaceful place where we could collect ourselves.
No problem. Did you want to buy anything? And with that, that's where I'm going to wrap up the session for tonight.
Fair enough.
Perfect. We definitely just introduced the idea of there's different worlds. There's a necromancer that's a type of undead creature that you have no reference point for. What's a dwarf? Oh, this has been great. But yeah, I know Zan's got a timetable, so if you want to start going around the horn now, Zan, that'd be fine.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Hey, first among many, not first, but one among many boner boys here, Xanalos Grim, also known as Zan. You can find me tomorrow, 7 p.m. PST over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Xanalos Grim. I'm going to be DMing for a few friends of the channel. Aside from that, Tuesday, we're going to have a prolonged stream starting around 2 p.m. PST over on my channel. I'm going to be doing a variety of video games. And lastly, on Thursday, we're at twitch.tv/Monteglue at 7 p.m. PST. I am going to be continuing my role as Bertrand Lockwood in Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We're pretty deep into that. We're potentially going to be fighting a Neothalid and an Elderbrain, so if that piques your interest, that's there. And I'm going to toss the talking skull to Citric.
Hi there, I'm Cedric. You can find me pretty much anywhere at Cedric King, anywhere being a Blue Sky, Twitter, Tumblr, etc. Kind of quiet on the front for now, but next Tuesday, be sure to come back to this channel and watch the finale for our old Warlock game, Pack Tactics. We do this once a year, so please drop by. It's going to be a fun one. Other than that, I think we have to celebrate our new party members.
Oh, second skull. Heck yeah. Hi, I'm Skelly Alpha. I can be found on Twitch, Twitter, and Blue Sky under the same moniker. Stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Fridays typically. Usually a gauntlet of indie games, drawing art, multiplayer games, and hopefully in the near future running some tabletop stuff. Within the near future, either on October 1st or 2nd, I'm planning a large birthday all-day stream. Still planning out on all the fun stuff that's going to be on. So look forward to that. I'll be posting more stuff about that on socials in the near future. With that, I'll alley-oop the skull over toward Burnout. What is up, Vaughn?
I go last all the time, so I throw myself back over to Saris.
Oh, you go last. Oh, okay, I'm learning. I'm sorry.
You are learning. It's okay.
Social faux pas!
Which... It's the name of the episode.
I was about to say, write that down, Citric.
First off, I just want to say a really quick welcome to the stream, welcome to the game, to Skeleton Alpha.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah! I'm very excited to have you. Thank you for playing with us.
This is fun. Thank you.
Thank you for signing up for hell. But you can find me all over the internet at TixDixel, where we are shitposting on main. I will be back here again for No Love War Extra, finally, where we will be getting up to some shenanigans, doing some stuff and some things. Now I get to hot potato the skull back over to Vaughn.
And yes, hi, you've already found me here at twitch.tv/BurnoutVaughn. Like we said, this week we have Saved by the Spell. Oh, well, actually, no. First we have Pack Tactics on Tuesday, where it's going to be a giant boss fight. You want to see us fight a very high-level fiend? Oh boy, are you in for some fun. Maybe Hold Monster will work again. I'm like 2 for 5 on casting my most powerful spell, so that's been fun being a meme. But aside from that, we have Saved by the Spell, where, again, our DM asked for an extra week, so that way we could make a funeral that much more impactful. Also, we're meeting the dean of a magical college, run by 5 dragons. I'm sure this man is just a normal pencil pusher. We shouldn't worry or think he's super powerful and all-knowing. But with that out of the way, we're going to raid a good friend of the channel, and one who is in that game, Saved by Spell. Wiley is Willie, formerly ex-Wiley Willie, who also made our theme song. So what should... You know what? Not social faux pas, but what should, I got it for raid message. Read the room. Oh, what?
I just want to jump scare Citric.
You know, I thought we had crossed the line, that we were safe, but no.
You know what? No.
No.
That's
I
the
don't
best
get
thing
to have fun things, right? No.
Yeah, no, we'll do it. Cerveza Cristal is the
Oh my
ratings, because it'll
gosh.
confuse Wiley. Because Wiley's Canadian, he's probably never heard of it.
He's a shit
Alright.
poser. He has to know.
All right. We will talk. We'll see you all again in 2 weeks' time. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.